So good afternoon students, my name is Govind JT and I am an assistant professor for law and economics teaching at Ambedkar Law College, Hyderabad. I teach a subject called economics, economics 1 and economics 2. So today I am going to teach you a topic from economics 2 and the name of the topic is credit and banking system, and at the core of the credit and banking system is the Reserve Bank of India. Students, now if you can define what is credit. Credit is basically the finance, is the unit of money or the base of money, or to put it in a more simple way, it is finance which is extended to meet a certain economic need. For example, there are various credit needs in the country. Right? Credit is demanded by various sections of the society. Now, we want credit which is being demanded by, let's say, the retailers, credit being demanded by the businessmen, credit being demanded by the farmers, right? Credit being demanded by the labor to meet their various needs. And this credit is given by, this credit needs in India are majorly met by the banks. Let it be the public sector banks or the private sector banks or the foreign sector banks, which come under India's banking system or banking structure. Now, let us extend the topic to what is called the Reserve Bank of India or RBI. Now, the Reserve Bank of India is India's central bank. Central bank means it is the most important bank. It is the apex bank, that is, it lies at the top of the banking structure and is the regulator for all the various public sector and private sector banks in India. Basically, the Reserve Bank of India is the regulator for India's banking system. It is known as the apex bank or the central bank. RBI, the regulator of India's banking system. Now, Reserve Bank of India extends credit. Reserve Bank of India is basically a refinance, is a regulator of India's banking system and also refinances the banks. That is, it extends credit to the banks, which then extend credit to the various sections of the society and for various economic activities. Now, the Reserve Bank of India announces what is called the credit and monetary policy, right, which defines the flow of credit in the economy and the way the monetary system is administered. The Reserve Bank of India is known by its particular name reserve because basically it maintains three kinds of reserves. One is your monetary reserves. The Reserve Bank of India maintains three kinds of reserves. One, it maintains what is called the banking reserves of the country or the monetary reserves of the country. Second, it maintains what is called the foreign exchange reserves of the country. And third, it maintains what is called the gold reserves of the country. As far as our topic of discussion is concerned for today, we are looking at the monetary reserves or banking reserves being maintained by the RBI. Right? Now, students, Reserve Bank of India is the core, lies at the core of India's monetary economics or monetary system. The functioning of the Reserve Bank of India is very important to ensure what is called financial stability, monetary stability, and in ensuring the overall macroeconomic stability of the nation. Now let us look at how the Reserve Bank of India ensures monetary management and ensures that there is credit flow in the economy to meet the various economic needs of the country. The Reserve Bank of India formulates and announces what is called the monetary and credit policy. Monetary and credit policy. Now, monetary means that which deals with money and the various functions of money. Credit, as I have told you, extending financing or extending finances to various economic activities in the country. Now, earlier the monetary and credit policy formulated by the Reserve Bank of India was reviewed on a quarterly basis. That is, in 1 year, we'll have 4 reviews of the monetary policy. Now, of late, the review of the monetary and credit policy announced by the Reserve Bank of India is being done on a bi-monthly basis. So, in a year, you will have 6 reviews of the monetary and credit policy, right? Starting from the financial year is from April to March, right? You'll have the first review in April, then the second review in June, the third review in August, the fourth review in October, the fifth review in December, and the sixth review in February. So 6 reviews in a year of the monetary and credit policy. Now, if you look at the monetary and credit policy of the Reserve Bank of India, which deals with monetary management and the disbursement of credit in the economy, right? It has 2 primary objectives. 2 primary objectives of the Reserve Bank of India, right, through its monetary and credit policy. Now, what are the 2 primary objectives of the Reserve Bank of India, which is achieved through the monetary and credit policy? One is liquidity management or inflation management. Second is credit availability. Right? If you look at our 2 objectives, one, credit availability is ensuring that there is adequate credit flows in the economy to meet the various economic needs of the country, where you finance various economic activities. And second, ensure that the flow of liquidity or the flow of money or credit in the system is not at an excessive level. Because excess of credit flow or liquidity in the system will result in what is called inflationary pressures, which ultimately would result in macroeconomic instability, will erode the purchasing power of the masses. So, the Reserve Bank of India does a tightrope walking, that is, deft management of the 2 objectives. Because both the objectives are primary to the Reserve Bank of India. But among the 2, the primacy, that is the more important of the 2 objectives of the Reserve Bank of India, is its liquidity management or inflation management. The second objective, of course, being credit availability. Now, the Reserve Bank of India, through the monetary and credit policy, right, conducts the various monetary functions. Now, as far as the disbursement of credit is concerned, the RBI ensures the disbursement of credit through 2 kinds of credit measures, right, or credit control measures, credit measures. One is called the quantitative credit control measures. And second is qualitative credit measures. Both the qualitative and the quantitative or the general credit measures and the qualitative or the selective credit control measures are operationalized through the monetary and credit policy. That when you talk about quantitative and qualitative credit control measures, it comes under what is called the monetary functions of the Reserve Bank of India. That is, monetary functions means that which operate the monetary system of the country, right? Dealing with money, right? The flow of money, the printing of currency, right? Yeah, that is the monetary functions. So both these come under the monetary function of the Reserve Bank of India. Along with the monetary functions, the Reserve Bank of India also, right, conducts what is called the non-monetary functions and the promotional functions. But of course, as far as this class is concerned, we are more concerned with the monetary functions of the Reserve Bank of India. Now, if you look at the monetary functions of the Reserve Bank of India, quantitative and qualitative credit control measures, right? Quantitative or general credit control measures are aimed at, right, regulating the volume of credit in the economy. As I've already told you, RBI is a refinancing organization. It finances the banks which then finance the various economic needs of the country. Now, credit flow from the Reserve Bank of India to the banking system, which then extends credit to the various sectors of the economy. Now, the RBI is able to control the credit flow to the banking system. This in turn will make the banking system control the flow of credit to the different economic activities of the country. Then you got another set of measures called qualitative credit control measures or selective credit control measures. The difference is qualitative or selective credit control measures will not only regulate the volume of credit in the economy but will also define the direction in which the credit flow has to take place in the country. Now, under qualitative or general credit control measures, we have got about 8 to 10 different quantitative credit control instruments, and under qualitative or selective credit control measures, we have about 5 to 6, maybe about 5 qualitative credit control instruments. Now, coming to the first one, we said there are 8 to 10 different instruments. Now, if we make a list of the various quantitative credit control or quantitative credit instruments, right, then we have what is called the bank rate, the cash reserve ratio, the statutory liquidity ratio, then your open market operations, then you have the repo rate and various types of repo rate, then the reverse repo rate, then you have got marginal standing facility, right, and then you have got variable reverse repo, long-term repo operations, term long-term repo operations, 7-day repo window, 14-day repo window, right? You got 91-day repo window, right? So you got about 8 to 10 different quantitative credit control instruments, right? Now, if you look at the first instrument, the bank rate. The bank rate, if you describe what is bank rate, it is the rate at which the RBI extends long-term credit to the banking system. Of course, different players in the financial system, banks being the primary player. I've already told you, more than 2/3 of India's credit needs are actually met by the banking sector. So, bank rate is the rate at which the banks extend long-term credit to the banking system in the country. Then come to cash reserve ratio. What is cash reserve ratio? It is the amount of deposits, time and demand deposit, which has to be maintained by the bank as reserves with the RBI. And the Reserve Bank of India does not pay an interest rate on it. The third instrument is called statutory liquidity ratio. This is the amount of time and demand liabilities or deposits which the bank has to maintain with itself so as to meet liquidity needs. Right? SLR is maintained in the form of gold, in the form of cash in hand, and in the form of the most liquid of instruments called the government securities or the gilded securities. Then you have open market operations. What is open market operations? It is the buying and selling of government securities so as to control the liquidity or adjust the liquidity in the banking system. Then you have the fifth instrument called the repo instrument. Now, what is the repo instrument? Repo is a short-term credit or liquidity instrument, which actually is the rate at which the RBI extends short-term credit to the banking system. That's your repo instrument. Then the sixth instrument is called the reverse repo instrument. It is the rate at which, right, the rate which the RBI offers to the banking system for the surplus funds of the banks which can be placed or parked with the Reserve Bank of India. Now, a combination of open market operations and repo and reverse repo is called, a combination of repo and reverse repo is called liquidity adjustment facility. And then overall, a combination of open market operations, that is the buying and selling of government securities, and liquidity adjustment facility, right? The simultaneous operation of repo and reverse repo instruments, a combination of that is called, right, your market stabilization scheme or MSS. Now, we have also introduced a new instrument called the standing deposit facility, which we shall discuss later. Then the seventh instrument is your marginal standing facility. Now what is the marginal standing facility? This was again a short-term quantitative credit instrument, right? Credit mechanism introduced by the Reserve Bank of India in the year 2011. An extra financing window available to the banking system from the Reserve Bank of India. Then again you have got various variations in the repo instrument. I have already told you the 7-day repo, the 14-day repo, the 91-day repo instrument, the long-term repo operations, LTRO, TLTR, term long-term repo operations, right? And then you have various variants in the reverse repo instrument also, something like the VRR, right? The variable reverse repo instrument. So, if you can take an aggregate, there are about more than 10 different instruments with several variants under the quantitative credit mechanism. Okay. Then, coming to the next part, the last part for today's discussion, the qualitative. The qualitative credit control mechanisms or the selective credit control mechanisms. This will not only regulate the volume of credit or liquidity flowing in the economy, but will also provide the direction in which the banks have to direct their credit. So, qualitative credit control mechanisms are also defined as RBI's directives, that is directives given by the Reserve Bank of India to the banking system. One, you have got margin requirements, right? That is, let's say if the bank wants to extend rupees 100 as loan, how much is the margin? Let's say the RBI fixes the margin at 70, only rupees 70 can be extended as credited by the banks, the remaining rupees 30 has to be set aside. That's your margin requirement. Then you have got what is called direction of credit for more productive purposes and not for pure consumption purposes, which can fuel inflationary pressures. Right? Then you have another instrument called your priority sector lending, where the RBI directs the public sector banks and the private sector banks to extend credit to the priority sectors in the economy. Right? Then you have got a fourth instrument called moral suasion, where the RBI will not only direct the banks how much of credit should be extended, but will also order the banks, to what extent can they extend guarantees for the loans which were being given to extended to the corporate sector. It's called moral suasion. The fifth instrument is called direct action, wherein it's a punitive instrument, wherein the banks do not comply with the directions or the rules set by the Reserve Bank of India, they can be penalized, punitive action. So we have got a host of 5 qualitative credit control instruments. So this is your Reserve Bank of India and its monetary control measures, monetary functions. Right? What we discussed, the quantitative and the qualitative credit control mechanisms.